After careful consideration, our group chose to research and better understand an organization called Recruiting Solutions, which is a recruiting, staffing, and employment company with 4 offices in South Carolina. The company began back in 1992 as a small independent staffing agency in Columbia, South Carolina, with a goal to make recruiting for companies easier and more efficient by providing qualified candidates for employment to those organizations so that they can focus their efforts elsewhere. The Columbia office currently grosses $2 million US per year and employs now 230 staff members. Their mission statement is making your biggest investment your greatest asset. And though they work with organizations across the United States, their main focus is on companies in the Greenville, Columbia, and Florence, South Carolina areas. They work with these organizations to recruit quality candidates using job search sites such as Indeed and Monster.com, as well as their internal database, Bullhorn, with an emphasis on clerical, industrial, and IT positions specifically. Bullhorn is the database they use to house all candidate information, as well as any communications between both candidate and employer, and candidate and recruiting solutions. From initial application for a position, the staff verify all information is correct and upload the initial candidate profile if it was not directly completed in Bullhorn. The interviews are then completed and information obtained is also uploaded into a candidate's profile. The profile will remain in Bullhorn until the candidate has either obtained permanent hire with an organization or chooses to no longer work with Recruiting Solutions. As a group, we will discuss in more detail the Bullhorn system, how it works, and why it is useful to Recruiting Solutions, the advantages and disadvantages of the Bullhorn database, including the advantage of its tracking capabilities and integration with other systems, and disadvantages of the system, including technical limitations and user experience. We will discuss lessons learned from interviews and research throughout the project, including how Bullhorn changed the recruiting process for Recruiting Solutions' daily operations and ability to place better candidates in the best position at the right organization. And finally, we will review recommendations to the organization for better use of Bullhorn and best practices to further improve the hiring process and increase both efficiency and consistency across the board with every candidate.
Hi, I'm Liz, and I want to say thank you to my previous teammate, Retha, for such a wonderful introduction. My section of my team project is on connecting the business process with information systems. Recruiting Solutions identified a need for an improved business process. They researched advanced technology and found one that would be best suited for their company. They purchased Bullhorn, which is an application tracking system, ATS. The goal for this purchase was to improve the processing of applicants, increase their customer service, and develop a streamlined process from start to finish. Next, I'd like to take you through their current business process using information systems. First, they identify the candidates and potential employers. From there, they gather the candidate's information and input it into Bullhorn. Bullhorn then analyzes all the information that is uploaded into the system and alerts Recruiting Solutions staff if they've missed any details. Bullhorn streamlines the tasks through the recruitment process. It creates a candidate's profile. From there, Bullhorn's technology integrates all information. Recruiting Solutions staff is now able to start collaboration and communication with potential candidates. And Bullhorn offers a platform which they can record all communication and collaboration for future reference with clients. From there, Bullhorn takes all the information that is added into the system and matches a potential candidate with the correct employer, matches the skill set with the company. After that, Bullhorn provides KPIs, key performance indicators, and metrics to identify Recruiting Solutions business success. One aspect that Bullhorn offers, or tool or technology, is that it collects the data on the candidates and saves it for future use. Say someone comes back 5 years from now to Recruiting Solutions, says, hey, I'm looking for a job. They can just pull up that candidate's profile and not waste time on re-entering all the information. To sum up my section of the presentation, I want to talk a little bit about the technology and a couple aspects of Bullhorn. Recruiting Solutions embraces the use of information systems through Bullhorn. Bullhorn is a centralized cloud-based management tool. It manages resumes, evaluations, and the hiring process from start to finish. It's an ATS, it sorts applications and identifies the best fit for specific jobs. It is a software as a service SaaS model. It's flexible and scalable. It encompasses a built-in tracking system. Information is stored for access for future use of returning candidates, as I emphasized in my slide before. Technology has enhanced Recruiting Solutions business process. Now I'd like to turn it over to my next teammate, Sydney, and she's going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of technology. Thank you very much.
Because Bullhorn is a cloud-based system, as Liz mentioned, there's a lot of benefits to using it for recruiting solutions. The first being that it's allowed them to transition from a paper-based process to entirely digital. The second is that it's allowed their recruiters to more easily track the entire hiring process for a candidate, or even track the progress of any open positions that they've had. In addition to that, they're also able to look at the history for candidates in open positions to determine maybe some opportunities for improving their process or even improving their recruiting itself. And finally, when it comes to being cloud-based, one of the greatest benefits is that it serves as a repository for any communication that Recruiting Solution has, whether that's with the candidate back and forth about an open position, or whether that's with a client in the same nature. It's all right there for any recruiter to access at any time. The second benefit to using Bullhorn is that it allows for easy integration with multiple data sources. So for example, externally, it enables recruiting solutions to import resumes or data from multiple different sources like Indeed or ZipRecruiter.com. From there, if a candidate is placed with a client, Recruiting Solutions actually manages the payroll, and so Bullhorn works pretty seamlessly whenever a candidate is actually placed in a position to help track their pay and ensure that they are getting compensated for their work. Another benefit to using Bullhorn is the report automation. Not only does it export a daily report that the recruiters use to work off of each day in order to fill open positions, it makes it easier for the company to track those key performance indicators, or KPIs. Things like the number of clients, the number of open positions, the number of candidates who are being placed, as well as tracking any candidates who are considered attempt to permanent hire with a client. And last but certainly not least, the benefits to using Bullhorn is that it actually helps to strengthen the company's organizational behavior. It does this primarily through the ability to collaborate between team members, whether that's in the same office or in different branches. That open communication and that repository for any kind of notes or communication that recruiters has makes it much easier for those branches to work seamlessly together. In addition to that, when it comes to new hires, everyone is given access to Bullhorn on their very first day. What this means is that for a new team member, they're going to be trained by someone else in their office. This helps them not only connect with that team member, but it also helps strengthen their purpose. And it makes it easier to connect with the organizational goals. Like we mentioned, the number of clients, the number of open positions. It's really helpful to help, again, strengthen that connection and the relationships between team members. As with any software, though, there are going to be some disadvantages or some downsides. The first one being that customization. So customization is really incredible and is actually considered a benefit, but the downside to the customization of the features is that it's very time consuming. For example, if you want to create some custom fields specific to your office, which Recruiting Solutions does, and you receive a resume that doesn't quite fit with all of those custom fields, it can take a lot of time to parse the information from that resume and really delay that hiring process. Another downside to using Bullhorn is that there's a lot of technical limitations that actually hinder recruiters or managers from doing a really good job in keeping that data quality as pristine as possible. So for example, it's not very accessible on mobile. If a manager is going from one branch to another or traveling for any other reason to visit clients, they would have to actually carry a tablet or laptop with them, which isn't always convenient. Another thing that occurs a lot with the system is that it's notorious for delaying a process or even just freezing up multiple times a day. It's considered a given, and it's a pain point for a lot of recruiters because they can't really do anything about it until the system decides to come back online. And last but not least, the user experience can definitely be improved. Each time a recruiter enters Bullhorn and tries to do different steps in the process, it opens a new tab. but those tabs can get really overwhelming as you go along the process, especially as you're tracking someone from beginning to end. So the user interface could actually use a lot of improvement. But essentially, the bottom line is this, is that Bullhorn simplifies the recruiting process for recruiting solutions. In fact, it's helped speed it up so much that recruiters spend less than a minute bringing someone from an outside source into the Bullhorn system. It has excellent customization, reporting, and integration capabilities, and while it does have its quirks, it's considered part of the recruiting process. And as such, it's an integral part of the organizational strategy, both their current strategy and any new strategy that comes down the road as they continue to expand and grow into new markets.
I'm here to talk to you today about lessons learned utilizing the software Bullhorn. Bullhorn is a cloud computing service that is helping streamline businesses across the world. We interviewed a recruiting solutions operations manager out of Columbia, South Carolina. Her name was Brooke Brownlee. That's where we gained a lot of our knowledge of Bullhorn from. Bullhorn is the background of recruiting solutions IT department now. Prior to Bullhorn, they relied on hard copies and manually reading each and every applicant. If their W-9 changed or this or that, they had to physically scan this stuff in, put it in a file, etc. Now, Bullhorn has streamlined this system, obviously, with this process of updating or reviewing applicants' files in less than a minute, which they receive hundreds a day. So you can imagine the time and money saved by utilizing Bullhorn versus the old way of doing it. Bullhorn is customizable to its clients' needs and helps with the daily functioning of the databases, which are vital to their success. Time is money with everything you do. Bullhorn is also a SaaS product, SaaS, software as a service, which is a method of software delivery that allows to be accessed from your phone. As long as you have an internet connection and a web browser, you can access Bullhorn if something comes up immediately and you need to make a revision to something, whereas you used to have to go there, either white it out, red line it or whatever, scan it in, put it in a database. Now Bullhorn has taken the place of that, which saves, again, time and money. There is a learning curve with Bullhorn, like any other software, but I feel after learning and listening to the interview with Brooke that the learning curve is worth every penny of it. Bullhorn is completely customizable to its clients' needs, and it helps with the daily function of the databases. It's all around good product. It's the best way to do business. Recruiting Solutions is a staffing agency, obviously, but they're more than that. They're not just temporary. They're temporary to hire company. And Brooke was gracious enough to give us her insights and everything.
Hello, my name is Emmanuel Chinedu. I'm a member of Tiger Bait Team 11. Our topic is process analysis of recruiting solutions. Recruiting Solutions is a recruitment company with branches all over South Carolina. I'll be picking up from where Greg left off, and in this section we'll be discussing on recommendations for future improvement of Bullhorn applicant tracking software and customer relation management. Our main aim as a team is to ensure that we cut downtime and we also increase team cooperation, transparency, and speed. What I'm saying in a nutshell is the fact that we intend that a given recruitment company should be able to take an applicant from point A to point Z as fast and efficient as possible. That's from being an applicant to being fully employed by a given company as fast as possible. So far so good. Based on our findings, recruitment companies all over the world utilizing Bullhorn as their main applicant tracking software. They are really happy with Bullhorn in the area of filtering candidates, in the area of locating candidate files, knowing, keeping track of where each and every candidate is at a given point in the process, and then in the area of running reports as well. They say Bullhorn is doing great in that area, in those areas. But as a team, we believe that there are some gray areas, some areas we feel should be improved upon in order for Bullhorn to be considered generally as the 21st century applicant tracking software. First on our list of recommendation here is a real-time chat with applicants. we believe that if there's a real-time chat with applicants, that a recruiter should be able to should be able to know if an applicant is really ready to take up a position that he or she is being interviewed for. Our second recommendation here is to enable Bullhorn to extract files from websites like Indeed and LinkedIn, so that a recruiter will not have to enter the data of every applicant one after the other into the Bullhorn applicant tracking software. Our third recommendation here is to be able to reduce to possibly eliminate all forms of freezing, because we've come to realize that Bullhorn freezes from time to time, and when this happens, every other thing comes to stand still. We understand that in today's business world, that time is very, very essential. Time is money, as they say. So for this to be taken care of, Bullhorn as a company will need to take care of constant debugging. We need to embark on constant debugging of this application tracking software, so that companies will not have to wait for it to come up from time to time. And our fourth recommendation here is for it to have what I call the SAP effect, for every member of the team to be able to have a bird's eye view of what each and everybody is doing at a given point in time, to be able to continue a given task from where some other person left must have left it. And our last and final recommendation here is the ability to be able to mass import candidates files into Bullhorn. All of these recommendations will, to a large extent, cut down time, increase team cooperation, transparency, and speed. So far so good. We think this will make Bullhorn what we call the 21st century applicant tracking software.
In addition to using Bullhorn Applicant Tracking System, Recruiting Solutions just purchased an add-on to Bullhorn, which is called Bullhorn Back Office, in September of 2020. Due to the recent effects of the pandemic, they realized how outdated their old system was, because they could only use it on computers where it was downloaded versus on the internet where Bullhorn can be found on any device. Bullhorn Back Office can be found within the Applicant Tracking System's menu tab. It'll say Back Office on the menu. Like Bullhorn Applicant Tracking System, Bullhorn Back Office allows every recruiter to see and track their candidates in real time and check their progress by being able to see what forms they have been completed. The candidates' ID numbers in Applicant Tracking System correspond to their ID numbers in Bullhorn Back Office. Bullhorn Back Office, it is for completing new hire paperwork that involves your I-9, your W-4, direct deposit, client-specific forms, as well as a few other mandatory forms. And it is also a website where candidates can go and fill out their paperwork. It also allows room for more storage in Bullhorn Back Office, where we can store that paperwork that they save without clogging up their applicant tracking system. We can also view a candidate's weekly pay in there, do a password reset if we need to, and it shows if paperwork has been completed. It allows the recruiters to approve the forms. That way the recruiters can go in and see if their forms have been completed correctly, and if not, they can click reject and send off those forms back to the individual that is filling those out. Also, after the new hire paperwork has been completed and the candidate has started their new assignment, they can go in and clock in and out using Bullhorn Back Office. So Back Office is a site where you can go and a candidate can go and log their hours. They can redo their forms if they need to, like their W-4. It's very universal, and it allows them room to go back in and kind of make changes and edits if they need to. So how it actually works is Bullhorn Applicant Tracking System and Bullhorn Back Office speak to each other. So a recruiter will go into the Applicant Tracking System side of Bullhorn and drop new hire paperwork once their profile has been completed. Once you drop the paperwork in the Applicant Tracking System, it'll actually prompt Bullhorn to create that candidate a Bullhorn Back Office profile. The candidate will also receive an email with login credentials, and the recruiter can also go inside of Bullhorn Back Office and reset that login information if the candidate has lost that type of information. The candidate will then be prompted through their email to go to the website, sign in, and do their new hire paperwork. Then the recruiter will be able to go in and see if the candidate has started their paperwork or if they finished it and if it has been submitted or not. The candidate will always have access to their Bullhorn Back Office account, so they are able to go in and view that at any time. And it also allows them to go in and get their logged hours whenever they are assigned.
Team members for giving all this great insight into Bullhorn and Recruiting Solutions as a whole company. All in all, I think we can say that Recruiting Solutions runs a very complex process that has been turned simple through Bullhorn. And although Bullhorn isn't perfect and it has lots of ways to improve, it is also great for making a once very complicated paper-based process into a smoother and efficient cloud-based world. And it's great. Thank you so much. Have a great day.